What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Total Osprers. I'm joined by Delane. How are you, bro?
Yeah, look, not that great after weekend's result. Still getting to me, but other than that, yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of a Debbie Downer. We set up that live watch along with a bit of FIFA content. Everything was vibing, and then we kind of just got let down by the team.
Yeah,
And I'll just adding it Nene in right now. Nene, bro, how are
Yep, I'm good.
you?
It'll be a lot better if we fucking won, but what can we do?
It is what it is. So let's get into it, boys. Fucking, I'm gonna go with my response. I think it was a poor performance. Obviously, going down 3-1. We always lose away. We don't win. Sorry, away at Emirates, but it doesn't excuse the performance. I think Conte got it wrong. I think the players didn't realise how much this means to the fans. And I honestly think that questions need to be asked about a few players, their mentality. And then I will say it now. I think Conte needs to be questioned on his stubbornness with some of his picks and the formation. We did allude to a formation change in the pre-match run-up and the post-match video for Leicester. We, especially yourself, Nene, you were very big advocate for a formation change, and I think it would have made a difference against
100%. I reckon we should have started like that. I reckon we should have started in the three in the midfield because we just got dominated in the midfield. And I just to allude to your point a little bit more, he's for lack of a better word, like unwillingness to change the formation. You could see at halftime when he didn't change that formation. Like it dragged on too long. By the time we decided to change the formation, we brought 4 players on, and it was too late. We already got the red card. It's like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do now? It's just we should have started like that, and it'll be if we. I know we're gonna get to it, but if we line up against Frankfurt in the same formation we've been playing, I'm gonna be very, very disappointed. It's not working. It's not working. We don't have the players to make it work right now.
No.
It works against the teams that are terrible and that
Definitely
we can beat just purely on merit. But in big games and in big games and big situations, especially like NLD, he should have had the foresight to just be like, "Well, this worked against Leicester. Why go away from a winning tactic?" But he went away from it and tried to stick to his guns, and this is the result.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I agree with that.
What's your thoughts,
I think we'll just look. I think Arsenal just came out and kicked us off the park. Like you can see why they're up there. You can see why they're number one at the moment, top of the league. We just got dominated in the midfield. Bentancur and Højbjerg were nowhere to be seen. Like Xhaka and who was the other midfielder? Was it Lokonga? No,
Partey.
Partey, and Partey and Odegaard. They just tore our midfield up. Like they were just so good, man.
Literally, like they weren't even.
Yeah, look, that red card by Emerson. Yeah, exactly. They weren't. They were nowhere to be seen. Like I don't see Højbjerg touch the ball hardly. He didn't touch the ball, and then Bentancur was doing the best he could, but he just wasn't working. And then, that red card by Emerson. Look, we've seen that high boots, high stud. Yeah,
I mean, it's to me. If you compare that to the Van Dijk tackle that happened, and he got nothing for it, and then Emerson gets a red, I think a yellow would have been fair. I mean,
it's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
It was a red. It was studs up straight to the ankle. The worst thing about it is it was a nothing tackle. It was in their half. Yeah. There was no reason for him to do it.
Yeah, look, everyone's going to pin it on Emerson, and I feel like it is a major part of. But they'd also scored their second goal straight after halftime when we were in the ascendancy.
that was just nail in the coffin. We're already going to lose.
But when we were defending, you can see Son was marking Saka. Like, why was he going to Saka? Like, why?
There were
He didn't
two
need
on
to go
one
there.
with Saka, and then what would happen it would draw Højbjerg to move inwards towards Xhaka or Odegaard, and then that left the other midfielder to sit more centrally. And that's a problem that I've seen this whole season with defensively. When we sit back and we try to absorb pressure, Partey, look, if Partey does that shot another 100 times, he doesn't score, right? So it was a banger of a shot, can't fault it. There was no way Lloris was saving it. Pitch perfect, right? If he does it 100 more times in a game, he's never going to get it. But my point is we always do this against every team. We leave that pocket of space about 5 or 6 yards in front of the 18-yard line, and our midfielders don't press out to stop them. Now, when we had the ball, Jesus, Martinelli, Saka were pressing constantly. If they weren't, Odegaard was pressing, Xhaka was pressing. They were stopping, like they were pressing our players as we're trying to play it out, or as we're coming into their half. They were pressing. They weren't leaving us space and going, all right, come at us. We can handle it. And this is where I think one thing that Conte is very stubborn on, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like England. We're defensively not as good as we are offensively. So they always say play to your strengths. Our strength is up top. This back five isn't working. We don't have the right-sided wing back to compensate for it. For me, it's either you play ultra defensive and you play three in the middle where we can control the midfield and we rely on the two Son and Kane to feed the wingers, and then you play fast wingers like Spence and Sessegnon, and you play it like that. Or for me, I don't think the 5-2-3 works. I think we switch to a 4 and go 4-3-3. Because I don't see this 5-2-3 working.
The only problem I have with that is we're already pretty fucking shocked. It's like shocking in defense. It's just going to leave us more open if you move a centre back. Understandably, I know what you're saying. You're just going to move him into the midfield, and I think, not to put words in your mouth, but he's just going to play like Poch did and have that centre defensive drop back in attack.
Yeah.
But it's just going to leave us more vulnerable, and it doesn't make it like. Right now, I don't think it really matters. I don't think we have the players to fit the formation at all, and it just doesn't make.
I think we're in the middle. Do you think that we're in the middle where we don't have the right players to fit his formation, but then we don't have the right players to switch? So we have the right back, we don't have the left back. We have the left wing backs, we don't have the right wing backs.
Yeah.
But then we do have Spence and Doherty. So for me, we do have the right wing backs, but we're not playing them.
Yeah. There's two things I want to say. One, I don't know how we fix this short term. Like I don't think Langley, maybe Dyer and Romero might be all right in the back too, but I feel like it's still a bit of an iffy one. Langley hasn't shown me enough yet defensively to really show up in it. The only centre back right now that's cemented his position is honestly Romero, and that's even that's a bit fucking as it going.
Yeah,
I just don't. And the second thing I wanted to bring up is it might kind of be a blessing in disguise, this fucking red card. It's because if he gets 3 games.
Shout out to Dean. You're not wrong. If we had a controlling midfielder, we wouldn't have so much pressure on the back five.
Yeah, 100%, man.
And we wouldn't. We would play more at the back because we would have that defensive midfielder to cover, and we'd have that extra man in midfield to be able to play through more centrally and instead of going wide. But I see your premise. What you're saying is that having that that extra cover in midfield might compensate. Yeah, it stops us from having an extra guy up top. But when you got Kane and Son up front, you don't really need to worry too much because they're going to score regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
But going back to what you were saying, it's the Emerson Royale thing might be a blessing in disguise. I know Conte's come out and said that the fans want Spence and they've asked for Spence, and the reason why Spence isn't playing is probably that he's not ready. For me, that's a double-edged sword. You can say that, but then if you don't give him a chance to prove that he's not ready, then how will we ever know?
If he just say he starts against Frankfurt, has an absolute shocker, we'll probably be like, yeah, you know what? Fair enough, he wasn't ready. But
Yeah.
he literally, and we've said this before, he can't be doing worse than Royale.
Especially
Like
the
how
format.
many times on the weekend did Royale literally have a ball to cross in perfectly and just fucking stutter stepped all the, like I remember at least 2 times. It's just like ping the ball in the box. We have one of the best strikers in the world. Ping balls to him. That's what our left hand side is doing. What's happening in training that makes him think that Royale is the right man for this team right now? It doesn't make any fucking logical sense to me.
And he's done this. He just brought what was it? Spent 1 million on the fucking
The personal training program or whatever.
Yeah, all that, and it just makes no sense.
That's props
that'll
to
take time to
that.
kick in though. It's only happened in the last week, so it's
I know.
You know, he's got a scout watching Hakimi, one of the best right wing backs in the world. He's got a neurologist coming in. He's doing like a full, you know, he's bought his own bloody hydro chamber in his house. But you know, it's at the end of the day, if he doesn't have that in his locker by now, he's not going to have it. Now, for me, it's also not just the fact that he's hesitant in putting the ball in the box; it's the fact that he can't. He's got a shit.
Yeah, 100%.
So, bring it back to what Brad said at the start of the season, at the end of the transfer window. Like, Serge is way better for this. Why didn't we just go and get him on a free and get rid of Royale?
Yep.
Like, why did we stick with him? Like, Serge would have asked for a bit more wages, but he would have come straight back into the system. He kind of was playing it under Mourinho because he was bombing up and down the wing and was asked to attack. So, like, it makes no sense. And Spence is quicker than Royal. He's shown that he's more attacking with being with Nottingham Forest, but also when he played against the Prem boys, he played against us, he played against Arsenal, when he scored against us. And if not, you got Doherty, who no one knows what the fuck's going on with him, but he was nicknamed fucking Diego Maradona last year because how good he played. And now he's barely getting, like, he just got on the pitch. He didn't do too bad. He did give one ball away, but he seemed to be a bit more controlling when he came on. But going back to like Conte, he kind of gave up after 2-1 when we switched 4 players in or 3-1. He went, fuck it, we're not going to get a result. We're just going to chuck on all the defensive players and we're just going to sit back. Took off Son, took off Richie, had Kane up top. It was like a 5-3-1.
I was saying at the start of the match, though, we just didn't have any match changes in the fucking squad. With Kulu out, we had to play. For some reason, he played all 3 of them up front, and none of them did anything.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked, I've been fucking screaming it for weeks, 5-3-2, and then if Kulu's fit, you have 2 game changes on the bench.
Yep.
If Kulu's not fit, then at least you have Richie or Son or Kane, whoever you want to drop, have them on the bench come on and try and change a game for you. You reckon Hill, who hasn't played for us for what, like 9 months or something, is going to come on and change a game at Arsenal at the Emirates?
Well, Conte's just come out and said that Hill is definitely going to be playing against Frankfurt because of Kulu and Moore is still out. And I think he's still going to stick with his formation against Frankfurt. So he's kind of come out and said that.
So where does he play? Left wing?
He'll play left wing because he's not got a right foot. But the thing is with Hill, like when he's come on though, to me he reminds me of Lamella, just a lot quicker than Lamella. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of energy. He can dribble like what Lamella really couldn't dribble. He was just good for fucking taking people out. But like he reminds me of that. Yeah, I mean, he did that against in the Europa League too.
That did it against Arsenal last year.
Yeah, I know. Then the old 4-4-2 doesn't happen in this day and age. There's
I don't see much of that point.
Too many teams play an intricate way where you have to be more dominant either at the back or up front. You can't really have that. Or you have to dominate the midfield, and having a 4-4-2 these days there's not really many right mids or left mids. They're all wingers. But going on to, you know, the midfield, when does I know the context come out and said Basuma had a bit of a knock, but when does he start? The guy was bossing it for, you know, as I keep saying, he was the top 3% in Europe for defensive midfielders in all defensive stats, and his transition in passing and going forward has gotten better since Brighton, and it was proved last year he was getting a lot better in ball movement and moving up the pitch stats as well. When does he start? Because I'm sick of seeing Højbjerg, and I know he's been a good player for us, but we need better. We need to transition from Højbjerg to and he just looks so stiff all the time.
I just think he's not good in the 2. He looks a lot better in the 3.
They both do.
But to your point, I would really like, and this is kind of moving forward and away from the Arsenal game a little bit, but I'd really like to see Skippy and Basuma both start tonight.
I don't know why they can't.
There's no reason why. And I personally would have Bentancur still in there because he's showing a little bit more than Højbjerg right now. So that would be my midfield 3 for tonight this morning.
But we're not going to go 3 though. I don't think. I think we're going to go.
We're probably not going to go 3, but if it was my team, I'd be definitely going 3 in that midfield.
But then again, I'd love to see Skip come through. He's proven last year, before he got injured, that he was doing so well before.
It was probably our best.
He was our best player. Conte came out and said that by far he was our best player before he got injured because he was out for 4 months. Yeah,
by far before he got injured. But then I personally, I don't know, man. It's just Basuma. I just don't get why Conte is not putting them on there. If Højbjerg's not doing well, then why keep him on?
Well, I think Højbjerg and Bentancur are kind of the same player. Yeah. So why are we playing the same player? The same things, and then he came out and said, we want. He said it. I think at the start of the season now. Basuma needs to play to the system. Well, you brought him as a defensive midfielder. Don't change him now. He's 25, 26. He's set in his ways. If you're going to play him in that mid pivot 2, then all you do is you tell the other centre mid, you're the one that has to go forward, like Højbjerg has been doing, and Bentancur. But when they go forward, we've got nothing to defend the back.
I don't trust Højbjerg going forward either.
I mean, they don't have a good shot. I'd rather, to me, this would be the perfect time to go, all right, Skip, Basuma, this is because we've got Brighton on the weekend, and Brighton just drew with Liverpool, and Trossard got a hat-trick, and thank you for getting the fantasy points. I put him in. Got me 17 points, I think. So. But, you thinking about it, he needs to change it. We've played Højbjerg and Bentancur every game in the middle. He hasn't changed it. I think one game he changed it because Bentancur had that concussion or whatever, so he could start.
Yeah, something like that.
It was a while ago.
But what are your thoughts? See, what are we going to do with Sarr? Because Sarr's still on the team. Papa Sarr.
He'll just be
he's still
he won't start. He's 19.
Yeah, no, he's still young.
He's a future. The thing is, ahead of him, you've got Basuma, you've got Skip, you've got Bentancur, and you've got Højbjerg, who played 2 in the middle majority of the time. If not, we switch to a 3. So he ain't going to get a look in unless, do we get 2 injuries and he's on the bench to cover. And then he comes on to help shore up the back 5 when, we're getting dominated or we're winning 3-4-0 and he comes on to shore up the defence.
I just think we have too many players. I know we got kind of a young squad. We do have a young squad. But it's just I just feel like Hill, Skip, Sarr, all that. Are we going to be using them for the Carabao Cups and, the FA Cup or something like that? I just have a feeling we're going to be doing that.
I don't think we'll do that. I think Conte is going to be stubborn, and if he wants to try and win a trophy, he'll just play the first team every time. And the thing is, that's all good, but look at Liverpool. They played their first team for two and a half seasons straight, where they nearly won everything you can win, and they won a Champions League and they won the Prem. But then after that, look at them now. They're struggling to keep any kind of form. Yeah, I know they lost Mane. They still got Diaz. They still got Nunez, replacing the players they lost. But because they've been thrashed for so long and the same 11, and Klopp was whinging, the boys are tired, fixtures. But every time people are going, well, change your team then. You've got players on the bench. You've got youth coming through. He never did. So I feel like Conte will do the same thing. This is my best 11 and the best chance of us to win is them play every week. Okay, but then it's kind of like Nuno where it's the first 11 always play no matter what. And I feel like Cess is kind of on a rotation with Perisic, but there's no one on rotation on the right. In the back, Sanchez and Dave and Langley have had chances to come in for Davies and Romero. So that's good. But the midfield and the front three, like I know he's rotated. He keeps rotating Kulu out, but Kulu's been our best, I personally think. He's looked the best. He hasn't obviously got the goals or the assists that he wants, but he's looked the best, looks the most dangerous. Son hasn't. Technically, if you go on form, it should be Richarlison, Kane, and Kulu. Son should always be dropped because he did nothing again on the weekend.
Yeah.
Kane got the penalty, but really didn't do much either. And then Richarlison, apart from winning the pen, I don't think he did much either.
No.
So, for me, Kulu would have done a lot in that game. I think he would have changed it, but he's injured. So, what do you do?
But that's the thing as well. Like, if you're having two in the midfield, to have three literal passengers up front, it's just. And like you alluded to on the weekend, Jay, when we were doing the stream, they weren't even tracking. They weren't pushing. They weren't doing anything. So you're literally having us front three fucking meander around and do fuck all, and just leave our midfield open. And then obviously we're bagging the midfield because it looks like their shit. But a bit more like Richie was the only one that was pressing real hard, and that was only for the first 20, 30 minutes. Kane and Son didn't really press.
They never pressed.
If they got off their asses and fucking press like they should do, it'll take a little bit more stress off the midfield because their midfield doesn't have 30 minutes with the ball.
Yeah.
It's just so hard for us to get the ball back too.
Exactly. So if you have three people up front that aren't willing to just pressure their defense, they're going to have all the time in the world. And of course, our midfield's going to look shit. And that's not an excuse for Bentancur and Holberg of how shit they played. It's just what do you expect them to do against literally 11 players?
Well, it's also formation-wise, what are you meant to do when they have Xhaka and Odegaard pretty much man for man, but when we're defending, they're asked to defend on the 18-yard box and not 5 yards out to help the defense, and then they can just roll the ball across the box. They can just roll it across the face of the 18-yard box.
We can have we can have 7 players in the box, but if no one's stopping them from building up pressure outside the box, that doesn't mean shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's fucking. I just don't understand, man. It was just Son. There was points where Son was coming back, but he wasn't doing. He was just, as I was saying before, he was just marking Saka. There was no point of him marking Saka where Perisic or Højbjerg, well, mostly Perisic had him. So I don't know what the point was Sonny marking him for.
The only kind of saving I have for Sonny is that's definitely a tactical thing.
I think it was the wrong thing though.
I'm not saying it was the right thing, but it was definitely a tactical thing where Conte said, don't let him pass the ball. You have to double mark him. And they double marked him, and then they left Partey open, and then he scored a cracking goal.
Exactly. For me, that is a tactical thing. Son doesn't usually do it, but for me, if Conte was actually watching Arsenal this season, Saka's been one of their, I wouldn't say his worst, their worst.
He's just been quiet
performers. He just hasn't been the Saka of that he has been in the past. But he's still getting. It's like Kane at the moment. Kane's not playing very well, but he's still getting goals. Saka's got a couple of goals and a couple of assists, and he's not playing well. But Perisic had him on toast the whole time. There was no way that Saka was getting around him. And if he didn't, that's why you have Langley there. Langley is there to support him. So I think tactically it was stupid because it just left, like you said, Partey open. He scored that cracker. But what it did was, if it wasn't Partey, it was Xhaka or Odegaard drifting across that front. And what that meant was that Højbjerg was marking too. So instead of coming out and putting pressure on the person that had the ball or the player in front of him to stop the pass, he had to sit back on the 18 box and go, all right, well, who's getting the ball? Because then I'll come out to them. And that's when Partey got it and just fucking walloped it. And it was a great shot. Partey does that all the time and fucking hits it in row Z. So you can't excuse the hit. It was a great, great goal. But going on to the goals, the Reece.
Yeah,
now
that second goal was disgusting.
The fucking howler. He decides to push the ball away instead of catching it when it was at him.
Mm-hmm.
But pushes it 2 meters away. It hits Romero to come back to him, and the fucker jumps over it, dives over it. Now, Lloris has been our most consistent player this season, probably been the top 3 goalkeepers in terms of shot stopping at the and he has been on a good vein of form.
Oh, he saved our asses so many times.
But this is
Yes.
this is something that not even the bottom half goalkeepers are doing like that. Like Danny Ward, that's a Danny Ward moment he just had. And that in a high pressure game when you're meant to be, you French captain, you won the World Cup, you've been at Tottenham for 10, 12 years, you're the captain. Like, these are the games you don't make those mistakes. These are the games where you pull off the good saves and you G your team up, and he fluffed it. And I don't know if it was just a moment of a mistake or if it's just his mentality that he's just not that elite. Because he's done it for France too, when he's done some fucked up things and cost them games in semi-finals or in Euros. Big game. I don't think he's a big game goalkeeper.
He just, especially for that second goal, he just looked nervy, and that's really not
scared.
and it's not what you want out of your captain / your keeper that's been there for 10 odd years.
Yeah.
Like you can't. He should. The fact that he even bunted that away was ridiculous in the first place. Just hold the fucking ball,
or fucking punch it out so it goes.
Get it the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it was such a weak palm.
It was terrible.
But this is what I mean. Like, I know he's our captain and all, but as he fell off form, like I feel like he's kind of losing his form. Like maybe it's his age or something. Like it's. Like this is not the Lloris we used to know, but I think this season he hasn't gone to that elite level like he used to. Like I think, I don't know. It's just disappointing. Like for him to not punch that out or do anything or punch it to Romero, like he should have known better. He should know better not to do that, especially in the North London derby.
Problem is, he's never going to be dropped. Like he's not going to be dropped for Foster.
I mean, he won't, but
like I'm a little bit more. I'm fucking. If you're not playing well, get the fuck out. But he was never going to be dropped. He's definitely the best goalkeeper at the club. So he'll be starting. He'll be playing every game possible, which is unfortunate because howlers like this are starting to become more prevalent, and it's starting to get real frustrating. He's like his distribution has always been dog shit, and these howlers, they're always. Like it's always been in his game. It's always been in his game. He's like it is not changing now. He can't teach old dog new tricks. So I understand why we don't go. Obviously, there is rumors that we're going for Oblak in January or the end of the year. But why did we wait?
I think it'll be end of the year purely because Lloris's contract I think is ending this year. So that'll be just I would like to see him in January though, just so he gets time with Lloris. But obviously. Well, if Lloris needs more time than Oblak, then Oblak needs time with Lloris. So, well, Oblak's only like 28, I think.
Yeah, he's fairly young.
He's proven.
But he's one of the top 5 goalkeepers in the world. He plays for Atletico. But like,
he's been in those big games too. Madrid's always there or thereabouts.
Like he's played in Champions League.
Yeah, he's always going to be there. They're always fantastic when it comes to Champions League. So he knows what the big games are about. And maybe we need that serial winner in now. Well, not really, but like the serial big game player that come out and like show us like the bit of mentality who what it's done.
Well, the thing is, you got to think of
Lloris obviously doesn't have it.
Got to think of all those Copa del Reys. They've got Madrid as their rivals, so it's always a massive Madrid derby. He's played against some of the top teams in Europe, some of the top teams in the Spanish league. He's won the league with Atletico as well. So he has won a league, and that's the thing. I think this team's lacking winners too. And I know everyone sits there and goes, "Oh, Son and Kane, they're wasting their talent. Go to a better team." And you know what? They're right. At one stage in your life, you got to think: is staying loyal worthy of losing out on trophies? But this is where we should be matching the ambition, and it falls back to the club. That how it's been run, and now everyone can. I'm a bit on and off with the Levy situation. I think he's done really, really well for the club to get it where it has in terms of financial and the facilities and all that. But this is where now, if we wait another couple more years, it doesn't matter how much money he's sunk into the club because there's no result. There's literally no result of it. So We did have a chance to get Magnon. Is it Magnon? He went to AC Milan. He's a French goalkeeper. He's probably, I think he's going to tip and take it off Lloris once Lloris retires. I think with the Lloris situation now that he was given the option to leave last year, but because he's been such a good, good player for Tottenham and he's been there for so long, they've said, you know what, we'll let you run your contract down so you can get a massive payout for your last couple of years of playing in France. So I think we could have gotten a better goalkeeper this year, but we just decided to let Lloris hang up his boot. And for me, if that's the case, it's pretty piss poor from aspects because we shouldn't be trying to be sentimental. You can always just bench Lloris for the year and let him fuck off for a higher paying wage and get a better goalkeeper in.
100%.
100%, bro. Damn, I agree on that.
Captain, and Kane can do what he.
Well, Kane should be. Kane or Højbjerg should be because Højbjerg's, I think, captain for Denmark, isn't he?
I think even with.
Yeah, I think so.
Nah, Kaya is.
I've always liked an outfield player being captain anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what your guys' thing is on that, but
it never works for goalkeepers because they're never going to be able to challenge the ref. They're never going to be able to run all the way up in the ref's face when someone.
Yeah, exactly. So Kane pretty much is
our
our captain anyway, essentially, because he's the one that talks to the ref the most when it comes to stuff outside the box.
But they can just tell him to piss off.
Even when it is stuff like close to the box, you see Kane rather than Lloris there.
Yeah, I don't think Lloris is that kind of person though. Like I know the whole thing with Sonny on the all or nothing where he's having a go, but it's all right having a go at your own players, but you should be, bombing on to the ref and, it's a thing that Conte needs to fix. But I want to go into Conte and some of the stuff he said. It's kind of like he's come out and said that he does what he thinks is right for the team. But he's got to be able to sit back and look at this and go, we haven't got the players to play this system, or I'm playing the wrong players in this system. Like, what is driving him to keep playing Romero? Like I know playing Emerson in the right back role. I know he's played okay compared to last year. But I don't know if you've noticed, I watched back a couple of our last extended highlights for the last few games, and every team pushes us to the right. Every team shuts our left side down with Son and Perisic, and makes us drift to the right where Royal is, and then we have no output. Especially when Kuli's not there.
It's almost like they know how to shut us down, and let's go through it by going through.
They know our weaknesses.
Yeah.
But like if you watch it back, every team pushes us out to the right-hand side of the pitch where Royal is every time. Because they know that if it goes down the left, we've got a chance of making something happen.
But just going back on that, remember how you were saying like a few weeks ago about Conte playing Royal? And he's saying, I'm playing Royal just to prove to Levy that he is a shit player. Now, is that what he's doing? Is that basically why we keep going to the right a bit more than the left? Or is it because he just thinks Royal could do the job? Me personally, I think he's doing it to prove Levy that Royal wasn't the best buyer. He wasn't our best option for a right wing back. Me personally, I think he's doing it for a reason. But then, it could be other things.
In the last couple of weeks, it's been Doherty was still injured, and he reckons Cess wasn't up to it. So in his mind, the only thought process he had was, okay, well then I have to play Royal. But like you can see that it's not working. So why not just give the young boy a chance? You've given Cess all the chances in the world, and he's half shown himself. Why not throw this youngster in and see what he can do? Surely he's at least a little bit better. At least.
I think that's all we want. We just want Spence to have a go. He's proven it not in Forest. Why can't he prove it at Tottenham?
Well, he starts for England's under 21s too, and he's 20, and they've just won. I think they won the Euros. The last Euros they won it. Cess was in that team, and Spence was in that team. So I mean,
all right. Then do you think Royal starts tonight?
We can't. Is it 3 games?
Doesn't carry over.
See, for me, with our group, like I know it's stupid to say it, but with our group, this is where we should be rotating the players in. We should be playing Sess, you should be playing Spencer, and you say to them, you have 45 minutes to 60 minutes to prove that you're good enough to get, because these are the weaker teams in the Champions League. Now I know there's no weak team in Champions League. We lost to Lisbon last game. We're lucky against Marseille, but like for me, Frankfurt's bottom of the group at the moment. They haven't won a game. They got flogged.
No, they beat Marseille.
Did they beat Marseille? Okay, I'll get that wrong. Marseille's the good ones, but like Frankfurt, this is where like I look at Frankfurt, I look at Marseille, I look at Lisbon. They're kind of like middle table in Prem. To me, they'd be like Crystal Palace, Wolves.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play players against them, and they're only going to get a chance in the Carabao Cup, where they're going to play one or two shit teams in League Two, and then come up against a big boy in the Prem, like what? They're not going to get a chance to do anything. So this is where you said to them, you got 60 minutes. At 60th minute, I'm pulling you off. I want you to run ragged for 60 minutes, show me your best. And if you prove, then I can consider putting you on to change the game on the weekend. He's probably going to start Kane. He's probably going to start Son. He's going to start Richarlison because Kuhl's probably injured. He's going to start Bentancur and Højbjerg, and he's going to probably start Seth on the left. It will be Doherty. It'll probably be Royal on the right because Royal can't play Prem, so he'll rotate whoever into the thing. And then he'll have probably Lenglet, Dyer, and maybe Sanchez. And for me, I'd stick Foster in goal. Foster's good enough against these guys.
100%.
So
he's
you
proven.
like Southampton, rotate it. I think Kane needs to have a rest, especially we've got Brighton on the weekend. I know we just come back from international, but like Kane played both games for England and he's played against Arsenal, didn't do much. Give him the rest on the Champions League. I know we have no one on the bench, but then if you sit there and go, fuck, we need a goal, Kane, get on. Like, Frankfurt are going to shit it. It's a German side, so they're going to be a bit more English style playing. Oh, I shouldn't say that because they're but like the German and English league are kind of hand in hand. They're kind of the closest to each other. That's why Haaland's playing so well, because it's just he's got space. The difference is that English is a bit more physical, and we're a bit quicker. Like our players are a bit quicker, but for him, like he's just he's banging goals in. I read a stat that he's 9 goals away from matching Sonny's golden boot last year, and it's 30 games to go. The guy's going to hit 40, guaranteed.
He's going to smash it. It's ridiculous.
And you know what he'll do? I heard there's a release clause in his fucking contract too now. Apparently there's a release clause for like 2 or 3 years. I reckon he's going to come dominate the league for 2 or 3 years and piss off to like Barcelona or something.
Why wouldn't you?
And then be like, I'm the greatest striker in history because I've done it in England, I've done it in Germany, and I'm going to be doing it in Spain. He'll probably go to Juventus and bang there at the end of his career and then do it in all the top 5 leagues and be one of the greatest strikers of all time.
If he continues on this trajectory, he 100% is going to be the best striker of all time.
170 goals at 22. Messi had 44. Ronaldo had 50 at this stage of their career.
He's scored 132 games in his last 127 club games. Like, that alone ridiculous. Is fucking ridiculous.
He's ridiculous, man. He's so good.
I think Kane would hit those numbers though if you had Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, I reckon too. If he was playing in front of Kevin De Bruyne, I reckon he would have hit those. If he was playing for Man City, he would hit those stats so good. He would hit them high. Yeah.
What we'll do, we'll transition over to the Frankfurt game because I think we've said what we've said about the Arsenal game. There's no point fucking ripping off the Band-Aid and picking the scab. Frankfurt. So I'll just get the Champions League group up. I'll have a quick look.
They're coming third. We're coming second.
Yeah. So they beat Sporting, didn't they? And then they lost to Marseille.
They beat Marseille 1-0 and then lost to Sporting 3-0.
Oh yeah. So we've got 2 goals difference. No, we've got 0 goal difference, and they got -2. Their team, though, I haven't really seen their team.
The only person that I personally recognise is Gotze.
Yeah, he's fucking. But he's like dropped off the face of the earth, Gotze. They did well last year. I think they won the Europa League last year, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they beat Rangers.
Yep. Yeah, they beat Rangers in the final. Yeah, so
penalty shootout.
I'll go into their club team. Who they got? So the players that I recognise, Kevin Trapp is a good goalkeeper. And Dick is a good player. Who they got? They got Torre as well. Yeah, there's not too many players that I notice really. Got to say, Lens is decent. We have to win this. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but if we're going to top this group, then we need to top this group, because even though they say Champions League, you always play the best teams, so it doesn't matter what route you take, you're going to play hard teams. We have to top this group if we want to get any chance of going further in the competition, because at the moment, the way we're playing, we're doing stinkers in the Prem and in Europe. It has to be we have to start improving, and I don't know what formation they actually play.
I think they play a 5.
Yeah, they normally play 5 at the back.
Because I remember who was the left wing back we were going for? But he's gone to, I think he's gone to Juventus, or he's get signed. He was going to Juventus.
Philip.
I forgot his name.
I can't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know I think.
Yeah, so they play a 5-2-3 like we do.
Yeah,
and we haven't played well against teams that match us.
See, now that's when, if they're playing a 5-3-2, that's when you go a 3-5-2. You change it. You change that formation because, as you said, we versus teams that play the same system as us, and yeah, we don't do so well. Like Marseille, they play the same system, and we're just lucky we got a win. But,
well, just a Richarlison double late in the game that got us the win.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they expected him to come through with those headers. So, for me, I'd like to see Hill play. I'd like to see Spence play. I'd like to see, or Doherty, whichever one, either or either. I don't want to see Royal. He's got a red card. If I can stick him on the bench and let him rot there until his suspension's done. I think, Spence and Doherty need to have a start. Cess needs to have a start. We need to start looking at Skip. We need to start looking at Basuma. Hill needs to have a start because it gives one of our front boys a rest. But it also means that, it's like with Son when he came on against Leicester and he got those 3 goals. Now, everybody thought, fuck yeah, Son's hit his form, going into Arsenal. Arsenal, the informed team in the league. I know City just smashed United 6-3, but they still haven't been playing well. They still conceded 3 goals. Arsenal are the informed team. They're the best attacking team in the league at the moment. They're dominating everyone. They've got the most fouls against them. So, we need to be getting some form into some of these players. And you know what? The Bentancur and Højbjerg both know they're starting. So if Basuma and Skip start playing well, they need to pull their finger out. Perisic and Cess have been rotated, and Perisic, I think, is professional enough and won enough to know I need to play well. And he hasn't had the most spectacular last couple of games, but that's because he hasn't been able to. With Leicester, we're getting cut up. And then Arsenal, everyone played pretty poorly. And then, there's players like Tanganga hasn't got a start yet, which I don't think he will. I don't think Conte rates him, but, Romero might need a rest because he might get injured. Davies should come on. Davies is always really good for the back rest. Dyer needs a rest. He's played every game so far. I'd like to see Foster. We don't have any strikers, though, to replace Kane, really, unless we rotate Son or Richarlison into the middle and then stick someone out wide. But that's the problem that we have now is we sent Scarlett, we sent Parrott out, which I agree with because, the loan system to Kane proves that it does work. But there should be a time when Parrott or Scarlett should be good enough to be they're going to be the rotation striker. Now, I'm not saying they are, but if they're not, then you get him a striker that's, like Llorente, when we had him for, was a season striker, didn't expect to be first choice. I always thought we should have went for Callum Wilson ages ago, like when he was at Bournemouth, 4 or 5 years ago as the backup striker, because he always did well. And and then now he's at Newcastle, but he wouldn't start every game, but he's a different kind of player to Kane. And he's a good goal poacher, and he's scoring goals for Newcastle still. So I'd like to see the rotation against Frankfurt. I don't think we're going to see it. I think Conte's going to be stubborn and try and push this team into the formation and get him to go on. But I think we do need to see the rotation.
Yeah, 100%. I think just seeing how many like Kane's played nearly from season start to going through international break. He hasn't had a rest. So I think really we should we can't really change them up unless we go, as I said, go to a 3-5-2 and have Son Richie. But then obviously who we're gonna I think Richie can feed the ball, probably not as better than Kane, but I think he can feed it. But then as you're saying, like I think we should rotate. We should see what Spence can do. We should see what Skip can do. Sanchez, he played well since Romero was out injured. He did really well. Hill, just all those players that never got a turn need to. I think Conte really needs to look at it and go, look, okay, I'll give you boys. This is the Champions League. I'll give you boys time. Go out there, prove yourselves. So I really think he's not going to do it. I know he's not going to do it.
No. He's not going to do it because we're second and we're on joint points of Frankfurt, so he's going to want the win.
Exactly. 100%. So,
but
he's not going to do it.
I was just going through the stats. The last time we won an away game in a Europe League was in 2020. Like it's like this, like fuck. Like we just don't do good away from home in Europe. We've never done good, and that was against fucking
Ajax.
Ludo Goretz, Razgard.
Yeah.
Ludogorets,
yeah.
And like
in the Europa.
In Europa. Like it's just, and before that, the other game we won was fucking KF Schenk. I don't even know, from Macedonia. Like it's just we can, and even then we only won 3-1 both times, so we're conceding goals.
Yeah,
it's like we don't like away games. It's as simple as that. Even in the Conference League last year, we didn't win a single away game. Like what the fuck
we
is
lost
that?
Them, we got smacked by Mura, didn't we? Like 4-0, some shit like that.
Yeah. And Rents too.
2-1. We lost 2-1.
Yeah,
Rents too.
Like
so,
we just don't. That's why I'm not too hyped on the game in the morning because I don't see us getting a win.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be all at work while it plays at 6 a.m. So we're all.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting there listening.
I'll be on site, mate. those loads can slump themselves.
But
I'll be at work.
I'm not too confident, especially knowing that Conte is going to be stubborn. Like I think if he plays the first team, we should win. We should be winning, but we said that against Lisbon and they tore us apart. And that's the thing. It's that midfield. Every team gets us on the midfield, and Conte's not fixing it. And I don't know if it's because he just doesn't trust Basuma or Skip, or he doesn't trust the other players. And that's what he seems to say. Like it's we need to trust him and what he's making the best decision. But when you're playing like this, it's my thing is I hope this loss is what happened to him at Chelsea when they got smacked 3-0 by Arsenal, and he goes, all right, that's it. If you don't fix it, I'm gone. And he literally just changed. The team completely changed and went on a 17-game run and fucking won the league. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to us, but it'd be nice to see it to start performing better and actually challenging. The thing is, it's so close at the moment. Like, we're 4 points off Arsenal, 3 points off City now. I think it's gonna City's just gonna keep going, and we're gonna drop points, like drawing and stuff. But I think Arsenal they got Liverpool next, so they're gonna start dropping points. And the thing is, they're 1 or 2 injuries away from, not having a really good team. You look at their bench; they have no one coming on. It's just the fact that their first team is very in form at the moment. So if we don't start performing, we could drop out. United, I know they got smacked by City, but they've been playing decent lately. There's teams, but Chelsea, once they start clicking, Liverpool, they haven't been playing well.
Brighton
are playing. They're like playing really, really well, even without Graham Potter. So it's kind of like we need to start clicking, and I hope this is a kick up the arse that Conte and the team needs. But then from what he was saying, it's kind of like he's just going to stick to what he thinks. And if you think Spence isn't good enough, for me, it's you should, like, if you're going to make that statement, then show it. Yeah, it may cost you points, but then go, look, he cost us points. This is why I haven't been playing him. You can all shut up now. Leave me. And I know he's a manager and he shouldn't have to do it. He's a proven winner. But sometimes you need that. Jose does it a lot of the time. He plays a player and goes, all right, I'll play him. And then he plays that shit. He goes, see, I told you so. Then if he doesn't, he goes, see, masterclass. I was waiting for him to be ready. So it's a win-win situation for Conte.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, as you said, like, you got to trust me. But then there's so much we can trust in him until we start feeling it going, look, is he making the right choices or is he just doing it to prove a point? And like just from the game, like as you said, like I hope this is a kick up the ass for all the players. So look, that loss, that hurt everyone. So now you have to perform. No buts.
The
Go
only
out
way
there and fucking show it.
the only way that I'll believe that he's gone like fuck, we actually need to do something is if the whole squad changes tonight. It's the only way I'll believe it.
Exactly.
If we see 9 of the 11 players that start on the weekend starting again tonight, it's just going to be like, okay, he's signed up a couple of players. He's just going to chuck them in, and he's forcing this on us, and it's just no matter what's going to happen, he's just going to force it until it starts working. So unless he makes mass changes tonight, I don't think we'll be seeing much change.
Well, the thing is, going back to how Royal got that red card, if I was a manager, I'd be like, mate, fucking, you're not playing. I don't give a shit if you're available for the next game. You made a stupid mistake. Look, I think we still would have lost, or we would have got to go back and we would have drew. I don't think we would have won against Arsenal the way we were playing, but he gave us no chance. By getting sent off, we had no chance. But the way he got that red card, in their half, Martinelli was running away from our goal, and he took him out. It's just I think if Conte needs to, if he's going to do it, now is the time to make a statement.
Exactly. I think it's the perfect time to make a statement. Like Royal, like that was so stupid of him to do that. Like for him to do something like that, like exactly, he needs literally. I would have pulled him off and go, look, you're not playing. I don't care if you're in form, you're out of form. That was a stupid mistake. You shouldn't have done it. Didn't really cost us the game, but obviously cost us a player, and we had to go to those stupid. We had to bring on defenders. So I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play him for the next until he comes back. I said, look, you're sitting out. I don't care. You need to prove yourself now.
All right, then if you boys were Conte, who would you be playing tonight?
Doherty. I don't give a shit either.
Overall, not just
one of them's got to be better than Royal at the moment.
Well, if I was to go, I'd go Foster, Spence, Sanchez. I would probably put Langley in the middle and then Davies just to give Dyer a rest. Sess on the left, Basuma skip, and then I'd go with like Hill, Kane, and Richarlison or something like that, and then have Sonny on the bench to rotate on. That's because they are going a 5-2-3 from what I see. So we're not going to get dominated in the midfield. But if they transition into a 4-3-3 or something, then you bring on Bentancur or Højbjerg, put 3 in the middle, take off probably Hill, and then switch out Kane or Richarlison / Son for the other striker on the bench. And then you bring on Doherty if we need more presence on the right, or you bring on Perisic if you need more pressure on the left.
Would you be about the same, D?
Yeah, I would actually. I would basically go with the same lineup they did, and then obviously switch it up if we feel like if we're winning the game. I would keep, say for instance, if we're playing the 5-3-2, or so, the 5-3-2. Sorry, I would basically keep going with that. And if we're losing the game, or if if it's like a real tight game, I would basically switch it up to that 5-3-2. Oh, sorry, the 3-5-2. Sorry, I'll switch it up to that, and just say, look, Son, Kane, or Richie or Kane, or Hill and Kane, go get it, go for it. And just, that's how.
The only change I would make is I'd be saying it and I'll fucking die on this hill. I want 3 in that midfield. That's when we look our best for sure. So I'd be doing Skip Bentancur as 2 center defensives. I know it's pretty defensive, but we are away from home. And I'd actually have Bentancur sit in front of him as like a center mid. Just have him feeding the ball to the wingers to the wing backs and then to Kane up front because we know Kane's going to start. So I'd definitely have Basuma and Skip in that midfield duo defending, not moving back as much, and just having Basuma in front of them because like 3 centre defensives plus 3 centre backs plus 2 wing backs. Fuck is that? It's way too defensive. So I reckon he won't do it, but I reckon I want to see Basuma and Skippy start with Bentancur in front of him. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Realistically, he's not going to, but that like
100%
yeah.
he's not going to. And then I'd have Perisic on the left and Cess on the right. No, Perisic on the left and Spence on the right.
Yeah, I'm only saying Cess because this is a game where he can build confidence. Cess is a confidence player, so as against a lesser team,
100%. But Perisic will play.
Yeah,
it's Perisic.
I mean, I think if we're up 2-0 at half time, Perisic come off. Cess, you got a full half. I think this is for me. This should be a game where he goes, "All right, fans have said something. I've noticed the fans have said something. I've made a statement about it. Now I'm going to give them what they want, and then show them whether they're right or wrong." And the thing is, like, yeah, if you do it, the fans will go, "Oh, Conte listens to us. You know, he listens to the fans. It's worked. Like, look at this. If it fails, he can go, I'm the manager. Shut the fuck up." It is what it is.
So either way, it's a good or bad situation. Yeah,
it's a win-win situation for him, and I think he needs to. As much as he might go, "I'm a manager. I'm the one. You're not. I'm the boss. I don't care what anybody says." Sometimes you have to do that to prove a point, or sometimes you need to do that just to go, you know what? Maybe they might be onto something. Maybe they've seen something I haven't. Maybe they've watched him at Nottingham Forest. Maybe they've watched him for England. And the thing is, Cess and him play on the wings for England. They're the starting two for the under-21s that decimated the Euros. So, like, they're the two that England go to, and they got a good link. They came they were at Fulham together, I'm pretty sure, as well. So it's kind of like before he went, like, Cess came to us and Spence went to Nottingham. So no, Middlesbrough he went to, sorry, and then he went on loan to Nottingham for the season. But anyway, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up. A few of us got to get to bed for work tomorrow. Appreciate you boys coming on. Sorry, it's would have been nice to have a good conversation about how good we did in the NLD, but alas, we proved that we're pretty.
That's right, mate. We'll have it in a couple of months.
Yeah,
we got them again. We got them again.
We won't be a live watch along for tomorrow morning game, as we always state. Midweek games are very hard for a lot of us, if not all of us, because of our work. But we'll be doing a match review. I can't say it's tomorrow night, depending on how we go. Most likely Thursday night. And then we'll be doing a live watch along for the Brighton game on the weekend. I don't even know what day that is. What day? I'm sure it's
probably one of the weekend days, mate.
It's Sunday? I'm pretty sure it's Sunday.
Just while you're having a look at that, D, what's your score prediction for tonight?
Oh, I'm not confident.
How many are we going to lose by?
Look, I'm probably going to go. I might go 2-2 draw. I'm going to go draw.
Yeah,
I'm not confident of winning this. Because of what you said before about the away record, yeah, I'm not confident. So I think a 2-2 draw I'll go with.
Yeah, I'm going to go with draw as well, but I'm going to go a bit lower. I reckon it's going to be 1-1.
I'm going to go 2-1.
I'm hoping to them.
You're confident? You confident?
No, I'm not. I'm not confident. but I think we should be putting Frankfurt away. We should be doing it. We should have put fucking Lisbon away. So for 100%. Me, we have to.
Yeah, I reckon.
But I just read a stat. We've lost our last 4 UEFA Champions League matches against German opposition with an aggregate score of 14-3. So that's losing twice to Bayern and then twice to Leipzig. So we don't play well.
To be completely fair to us, though, one of those games was a fucking 8-2. Like, that's...
And that was played at home, wasn't it?
No, it was 7-2 and 3-1, and then we lost 1-0 and 3-0 to Leipzig. So...
Yeah.
I mean,
literally half of those goals in one game. So,
yeah.
But anyway, guys, we will do it live. It's 3:30 on Sunday morning, so don't get too pissed Saturday night, boys, because we've got an early wake up for Sunday. That'll be the Brighton game with the live watch along. That'll be a big one. It's actually we're just itching it on the odds. They're right behind us. They got a game. They got a game in hand too. So they're on 3 points behind us with the game in hand. So if they win that, they're on the same points as us.
So that game is going ahead?
Pretty sure it is. Why wouldn't it?
Well,
Because there was a report saying that it was going to be
Oh
postponed
yeah, because of the
rail.
strikes. Because the rail strikes. So we'll see, but I'm pretty
oh,
sure.
is that
we'll
why
go
a
ahead.
couple of games weren't played on the weekend?
Yeah, because the rail strikes in England at the moment. Fucking whinging about the trains. But we should be there for the 3:30 kickoff. Dean has said 2-0. Sorry, boys, 2-0 to Spurs. Going
he's
off the record.
He hasn't been watching the podcast. He hasn't been. He hasn't been
watching
And
the
after reading that we've lost to like our last 4 German games by 14-3 in aggregate, and then we haven't won an away game since 2020. I think it's a bad record, boys.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, boys.
Yeah,
So it's saying a lot when the Man U fan has a lot more faith in Spurs than we do. he hasn't seen enough winters, the kid.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Cheers, boys, for coming on.
Cheers, mate, for having us.
Like I said, catch us on Sunday morning, 3:30, Brighton game. If it changes, we'll let you know. If you're watching on YouTube, smash a like, subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the bell, so you can get notifications when we're live, when we add videos. Hit our link tree out for all the socials. And we are going to start doing some more content for our TikTok, our 5023 content. That'll be coming out soon. But anyway, boys, enjoy your night. Thank you for coming on.
No worries, mate.
Thank you.
And to everyone out there, if you're watching back or if you're watching live, as we always say here at Total All Spurs, stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy, boys.
Up
Peace.
the Panthers.